confusing here and there, that's for sure. But as we're going to be kicking things off here on Crystal Arcade for some gem grab. Wow. Looking at the predictions, I mean, probably half of the people predicting Zeta think it's Japanese Zeta. They might be disappointed, but either way, I mean, it's not quite like that. I would call it probably 65-35, 60-40, more in those lines in favor of Zeta Division, of course.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, you know, it's not as close as, not as distant as the public prediction said, but it's not as close as some may think either. Meow going to be picking up that Janet as the first pick, and I've been saying it all day long. Such a versatile pick, not really but countered by too many things, but also not completely dominant over the majority of brawlers either. So somewhere in that mid ground, definitely up there in terms of first picks though for Zeta Division. Gonna see the Crow as a return pick from now and ever, and it's been sneaking in little by little, and it just seems to be picked pretty much everywhere nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like we've been seeing so much Crow already today. Been quite an interesting brawler to see just kind of rise from the ashes. Don't get me wrong, it was always in a decent place, but definitely not getting this sort of pick right. You know, if you don't look very far away, it was still not nearly getting as much playtime. Stu going to be brought into the mix again here. We did see him a couple of times today. Not necessarily was the most success, but it is a highly mechanical brawler, of course. So if you are able to start popping off and really start dominating, I mean, it's one of those brawlers where you can hard carry your team. You just really need to be on point when it comes down to your mechanics. And Spike is a pretty hard counter, and another brawler we've been seeing more and more today, especially when it came down to Reply Totem earlier, bringing it in nearly every single set.
I mean, Spike must have just completely flown over my head, to be honest, because all of a sudden it's just being picked this in these multi-finals. And before this, I hadn't really seen too much of it, and it's kind of just like snuck in all of a sudden, and now it's just a really, really strong brawler. And talking about strong brawlers, B, just so good at the moment, and it's going to be Zeta Division's last pick, sliding in on that mid, and it definitely is a pretty solid one at that. So far, Zeta Division have got a very, very good draft, very versatile, can play at short range and long range, and honestly, I'm kind of siding with them at the moment. But Carl, the last pick coming in from now on ever, and I imagine that means we'll be seeing some Crow mid.
Yeah, I do kind of like the Carl here, to be honest. Has a pretty decent matchup overall against both the Spike and the B. Not exactly, you know, out of this world either, but should be able to get some nice value with his pickaxes, and if he can get some good placement, it might get more challenging for Zeta Division to try to get him out of position. However, only time will tell, as we're going to be ready to jump into that first set any second now. And there we go, now or never versus Zeta Division.
Yeah, I like the quick flying hook over to the right-hand lane. It gives Tomsy that instant control, and Janet straight away pushed pretty much back into spawn, now being pinched by Lukey, and they are going to be taking the Stu mid instead of that Crow mid, and I think that's probably the wise choice, considering you don't really want to run that Stu into either Janet or Spike, and having it down the mid, it can quite easily find some connections onto the B.
So far, it's not going half bad. Dash to dodge that charge shot. Garrett quite low HP himself, and Luki already has his next super as well, able to go for the gem, pull out, and right now still 78 HP left. Sorry, on Garrett. That's not a lot, but enough to survive and start healing back up, get back into the action. Luki gonna get slowed, but again, does have that dash as a safety measure, and so far it's been doing wonders for him.
Yeah, now he's not able to find the kill down the right-hand side. Does drop the base just to reset some of that healing, but not sure if it clipped Tomsy or not. Regardless if it did, he's going to be healed up and ready for it to come back nonetheless. Lukey getting hit by that shot by Jiro and bringing him low. Kanan more of the same over the left-hand side. Just no control for them whatsoever. It's set from this right, and having the right-hand side's really not doing a lot for them. Speed zone being placed by Lukey, but he's not pinching at all, really. Like, he could have just headed straight down that side and tried to grab the side, as now this next gem is going to spawn on Jiro. Tomsy's going to come in, but he's going to get obliterated instantly, and Jiro's not going to stop there, and he gets the three. All three down, connection after connection, and they're surely going to be taking this first game.
Fantastic connections from Jiro on the B, and so far, not really much of a chance for Zeta Division, for now or never, to do anything against him in the...
Definitely so. I mean, at this point, it was kind of the Spike and the B who were really making those incredible moves, and they've actually predicted the swap as well. Meow's going to head straight over to Kanan's lane as he did rotate over to this right-hand side. Was Jiro just trying to establish himself in his mid once more. Tomsy not getting the quick control that he did in the last one this time, though, and now he's getting pinched in and taken down by Naui and Jiro. Lukian trying to pinch in on Meow, and even with the pinch, he's not doing the best. He does get hit and survives on a slither of HP, 360 there over the right-hand side, but in the meantime, Jiro's gone and picked up 4 gems.
Yeah, it's kind of the problem when it's the gem carrier that's, you know, kind of ganking towards the other lanes, to use MOBA terms. You lose your gem carrier, right? And suddenly mid is free for your opposition to just pick up gem after gem, and that is not working out very nicely for now or never so far. Luki quite low HP again, and as much as I want to praise his ability to survive down in the mid with that stew, he's also just not really finding all that much value and not that threatening to Jero in any way. Jero kind of just feels like he's never been all that close to going down, and when you're playing a squishy brawler like B, that's just not the best sign.
Yeah, I mean, survive all you want, but if you've got no gems, you're not going to win a game of gem grab. Now he's going to take flight. Tomsy trying to come around the right side, but it's just too little too late.
Just, you know, have a bit of a clean start here in Heist as we move on to Pit Stop.
Yeah, well, Pit Stop's kind of one of those maps where, you know, the draft is tanks or you go for that control. There's not really much of an in-between. We've got the bans in now, though, and the first pick. Going to go with Ems. We're going to go for that heavy tank counter early on, but in terms of bans, we've got the Stew, the Ruffs, and the Spike on the side of Now or Never, and if I get a chance to read the other bans, I will, but Max going to be the first pick of Zeta Division. And Rico, we got a quick draft going on here. I guess I don't want to read the bans.
They're being quite quick about it, indeed. We'll have the Penny ban, a double Ruffs ban, as well as an Otis, a Spike, and a Stew, all banned out. I find it interesting to go for the Max against the Ems. I mean, I don't want to say Ems counters Max, wouldn't quite go that far, but it's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic in those fights. There's going to be a little bit more range overall for Max and the mobility, but the ability to slow it down for Ems and maybe create some openings. You know, if you have your super near enough walls, you can really creep up to your opponents and give some nice opportunities for both offense and defense. The Rico on the side of Zeta Division as well is a pick that I do like on this map. Not necessarily the most like seen brawler on Pit Stop, but one that has seen quite a decent amount of success in the past, and we'll see that Primo as well join in on the side of Now or Never. So as you predicted, those tanks kind of you know, known for on Pit Stop. But at the same time, there's also that heavy control that you get from brawlers like Ems and especially Barley on the side of Now or Never. Not really committing to either, but kind of committing to both in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Zeta Division are going to take a little bit of the same as well. Going to go with the Bull as their last pick, taking a leaf out the tank book and just trying to go for it. And at this point, you know, you're against a Barley, you're against a Primo, why not bring a Bull in? Just going to try keep it off that Ems matchup and ensure that the Rico is going to be dominating that pick. And I mean, the Barley's going to provide some issues to Max and Rico in that early game when they don't have speed and they don't have any maneuverability. It's going to be really difficult for them to push up, but it's kind of all in Bull's hands early on.
Well, let's jump in. You know, it's going to be taking care of that left lane so far, facing the Barley, and we'll have the tank battle on the right. You know, starting to creep up on the left-hand side, but a couple nice shots there, connecting from Tomsy. A nice bouncy castle from Meow to keep it in the mix, and it is going to be a base race for the time being, one that Zeta Division is slightly winning so far. Garo getting onto that safe as well. It's going to be providing further value, but is that going to be enough? It seems like it should just about be.
Issue of Now or Never went for a base waste when the highest DPS brawler is stuck in a stalemate with a Bull over the right hand side. Bull gets super and it's just done. End of the game. And even if he didn't and just kept Primo there, it would have been pretty much polished off anyway, as the DPS of Rico and Max is going to be pretty explosive. Meow go for the same thing again, and it works again. He's broken through once more, and now he's going for the same, just trying to wait for this Barley to respawn and just take advantage of it again. Jiro coming down this right hand side, going to need to heal up, and I believe a Primo is probably going to be unsafe at this point. They're going to need to make the play.
Well, again, some chances to get damage on safe here for Zeta Division. They'll get a decent amount, but there's an extra player in defense this time around, and so far it is Now or Never that are winning the battle. Garo pumping a gadget to stay in the mix. Now we quite aggressive. Meow trying to find some bounces. Finds one, finds two, but the trade is there. That means Garo is free to get some nice damage on safe. But at the same time, the defense respawned on the top side of the map, and we're finally able to dispatch of that player from Now or Never that was causing so much damage on that red safe.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to go for it. They're just completely committing for it. I don't think they're going to have it at this point. Barley's up on the top. He gets one shot off, one more needed, and he does just get...
Yeah, I think that base race at the end was a bit optimistic, especially since Barley just doesn't need to care about walls, right? So he gets easier access to the safe, starts shooting first, starts reloading his ammo first, and ultimately that helped him just get that DPS out a little bit faster, close out the game. Meow low HP, but does have damage gear now to deal some extra damage. A miss with that Barley super, so far finding no value, and Meow is still standing, still finding value. Gets jumped on by Luki eventually, but not before he deals a decent amount of damage on that save. That's a 58% lead so far for Now or Never, and it's as one-sided as it's been so far.
Yeah, Luki's going to get that wall break open as well, and he's on safe. I'm surprised that Bull just doesn't leave him. It would be the smart idea to do so, and this time they just haven't, but he's managed to get his super, and I'm not really sure what's going on here. He could have just gone and pretty much finished the game, choosing to play for the defense, though, and Luki's still alive, 56 HP available, and he does go down. Now he's just trying to get some damage onto the safe, and staying alive just that little bit longer, trying to wait and play for this respawn cycle.
Back to mid now for this battle. The super from Jero getting towards that save. Gets some more damage down as well, but not quite enough to close it out just yet. Meow going for his super. Gets some value on the save here as well. But again, does get shut down. A chance now for Now or Never to try to build up some more mid control. Jero dashes in. Gets taken care of quite nicely by Now or Never. Meow on defense. Able to take down Luki, but now it's only 11%, and that is a very small difference compared to what it used to be just a minute ago.
Yeah, that's a really nice zoning super there from Tomsy as well. Super comes in from Meow once more, and Jiro's going to follow at one as well. Can he get towards that safe? Max is going to come in anyway, but Meow can't push because he's too low to get in the area of this Ems. Primo's alive, and now all three members of Now and Ever are going to be going towards this Zeta safe. Can they get the defense off? 24%. They've got a Barley, they've got an Ems. Jiro's just going to go, needs to try and cycle his super. Primo jumps in, and that's got to be it, surely. Now and Ever for them to do. It's going to be Julian Beetles on Julian Beetles in hot zone. I did say it right the first time. I corrected myself falsely. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is a game mode that pretty much anybody can take. It really just depends on the draft quite heavily.
Well, talking about subbing in and out, it's going to be Kanan back in the action. Tomsy back on the bench for this one, as we have our first pick of Poco already following the bans of Ems, Meg, and Sam on the side of Now or Never. Zeta Division will be banning out Gus, no, not Gus, sorry, Gray, Crow, and Meg. So far, so good, I would say, regarding the bans. I mean, the double Meg ban is kind of expected at this point, and I'm also happy to see Sam banned. I feel like he can be such a threat on this map.
I mean, I'm just happy to see Sam and Gray banned anyway, regardless, just because it's so unthrilling to watch. But Stu's going to be the first pick from Zeta Division coming in. I like the way that Now and Never started with this Poco, but it is fairly easily countered. Not that Stu's the biggest and best counter to it, but Pam coming in next, making sure they can't double down on those healers. And not only that, but getting a good brawler for yourselves that's going to be able to throw an aggressive turret or an offensive turret, depending on the situation that you're in. Now and Never now going to have the chance to kind of double down on this Poco and choose to go with something, possibly a tank, or even something like a Max that can just get them faster into that battle.
Yeah, I personally like the Max ID better, and it seems like Now or Never do too. They're gonna go for the B as well, which is just as much to try to deal with brawlers like Pam or other tanks that could be brought onto the table, as it is to make sure it's not played against them, as the range and damage of the B can be quite problematic for the Poco to deal with. So I like the strategy from Now or Never. Let's see what Zeta Division's answer is gonna be, if Coach Enzo has anything in store for this third and final pick of Dueling Beetles, and it's gonna be the Bell. So I wouldn't say there's any sort of fluff or craziness about this one. I think they're going quite standard. It has decent matchups all around, but it can also quite easily get overwhelmed if you have that max speed, if you have a Poco Super that kind of, you know, gets you out of position. You don't really have anywhere to go or anything you can do.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, really. I think it is a fairly even matchup overall, just because I'm not sure if like the Max and B have the best synergy. Same with Poco and B, really, in terms of like that core heals to the B or speed to the B never really goes so far. But overall, I mean, it's a pretty good comp in terms of the 1v1 matchups. Jiro getting hit pretty hard from the left-hand lane, and Jiaku's going to get his 3k, but he does miss it, and it is pretty even off the start. But Kanan surely going to go down any second now.
Yeah, so far Jiro playing this absolutely flawlessly down in the mid and able to dodge that final shot from the B as well. Nicely done at last. And kind of surprisingly, actually, now or never have the lead, which didn't really feel like they were in control, but I guess they were spending more time actually committing to the zone, and now that they have control, it's a little bit scary for Zeta Division. They've been kind of finding one by one on their individual lanes. Only time for some sort of a team fight to try to create a larger opening than that. Shaku does get marked and needs to be careful about how he addresses that duel against the Bell. It's reset his heal as well, but when you have a Poco nearby, that does help. Not playing Solo Screech. I think he's running the capo from seeing the heals that were coming through from Kanan earlier. And out of kind of nowhere, never, they built a very decisable lead.
Yeah, really nice stuff. And I mean, Kanan's been playing this incredibly. He's been bouncing between the healing and damage really flawlessly, and he's doing it again, keeping his teammates alive, keeping the real damage dealers alive whilst healing them and getting this percentage down. Gadget coming in, the scrap sucker from Meow, but it's just not going to be enough, and they've just completely walked all over.
B just kind of, you know, struggling against Naui, and Garo also destroying Kanan down in the mid. It really felt like it was going to be a more one-sided affair and in favor of Zeta Division. Far from it. But the second game is quite a different perspective already, as Garo is able to get some very good value down in the mid, and got that early kill, which is going to enable Zeta Division to build up a nice and healthy early lead.
Yeah, it's aggressive Panther. It's really nice as well. Kind of make sure that Luki has to shoot it or just completely go around it, and then he knows where he's going to be, but they do manage to clean up anyway. Just really low, and Kanan's going to go down, and Jiaku follows him, and then Luki follows Jiaku as well. Team wipe from Zeta Division now. The lead just bouncing further and further ahead, 30% ahead now, and all control in their hands. Kanan, no gadgets left, and it's really not a position he wants to be in.
This is looking really solid for Zeta Division. A completely different story in this second game of Hot Zone, and one where now or never, we're just really never able to get any sort of mid control. And that seems to be the determining factor so far, at least from those two first games. If now or never managed to get a hold of the mid, they were able to just hold it for so long. But
yeah, I mean, I think you put it perfectly there. When they have control, they're on top of the world, but the retake capability of this comp's just not quite there at all. The Bees just doesn't really have much anything to say when there's a turret in a face or speed zone or even some of these nest eggs that now he's been placing down. Jiro not starting this one off the strongest. Kanan is still living, but now Luki is going to fall low. Some heals come from Kanan, but I mean, at this point, they're getting absolutely melted down. He's going to fall surely, and Jiaku shouldn't be too far behind him.
Slow will connect. Shaku gets the supercharged shot to connect onto Jaro as well. But that healing station is providing nice value. The speed zone eventually taken out. Luki solo HP on the right hand side, and it's already a sizable lead favoring Zeta Division. Kanan has super, gonna heal up Luki. Jaro dashing back to safety and able to nicely half commit to those fights, as you do really like to see with Brawler likes to. Shaku going for the slow, hoping that it connects and curves nicely around the edges of that wall, but it's not quite going to be the case, and Zeta are back in control of the mid. A clutch heal there onto Luki, but don't think that is going to be enough to keep him, well, it will keep him alive, but it won't really keep him in the mix, and Zeta Division are running away with this one again. Now or never. They need that opening. They need that retake in the mid.
Yeah, and Jiro's just been able to keep Kanan so low as well, and still doing the same. Gets him down, and now he's surely going to follow up on Luki as well. That's going to be the game finished off, and that'll set along.
And actually lock in that set. Now we're moving on to pin open for Brawl for set number 4. The chance here for Zeta to close it out, or for a comeback perhaps from now or never.
Yeah, well, I mean, Brawl Ball's where to do it if you're going to. It's either going to be a quick turnaround or it's going to be a quick finish from Zeta Division, I would imagine. Crow returning once again, and it's just one of those brawlers that seems to be popping up over and over, no matter what the game mode, no matter what the map. It's just such a great pick. Squeak, Poco, and Max going to be the bans from Zeta Division. Now we're never going to get rid of the Penny, the Poco, and the Max on the other side of things as well, so neither team wants to see the Max come in, and honestly, I guess that's only coming in as a ban from now on ever because they don't want Zeta Division to have it, because usually they're so confident with a pick like that.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I feel like, you know, as much as we've seen Crow being picked very early and even first picked today, I think this is one of my favorite maps to do so. So I do respect the decision here from Zeta Division. As to be fair, I mean, they are the pros. I respect most of their decisions, let's be honest here. But Stu, as a reaction here as well, is going to be quite interesting because we've seen Stu successful at times today. It was very successful for Zeta Division in the previous set, but let's see how it will transfer here on pin open. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a super Stu heavy map in general, so I'm a little bit curious about what sort of application they have planned for that brawler, as Otis is going to be next in the pick order. And I mean, it's a fantastic brawler overall, still in a very good place, very versatile, good on so many different maps, and easily combinable with different brawlers as well to form all sorts of different comps. So I'm all down to see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think so as well. And Spike is just another one. It's just one of these picks that keeps on coming back time and time again. That's just sprung into the meta all of a sudden because these tankier units and stuff like that have kind of come to fruition when Gale got completely nerfed into the ground. I'm sure that's what it probably is. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone in chat, because I'm not knowledgeable, and to be honest, I'm only kind of just seeing this. I've been in North America, and this isn't how things roll over there. Ash going to come in from now, or from Zeta Division as their final pick, taking a tank out of the hands of Now or Never.
Yeah, this means they need to do some sort of adjustment. I mean, of course, they do already have that Otis, which is very good at dealing with brawlers such as Ash, but either way, I mean, some extra DPS or something to slow him down could go a long way, and the mute is always a little bit scary to use whenever you have those rats in play, because, well, if you mute the rat, that's not really going to be providing any sort of value. You do end up seeing the Carl as the final pick here on side of Now or Never. I don't mind it. It has good matchups against both the Crow and the Spike. It is all right against Ash, especially with the shield up close. You're spinning, you'll deal a decent bit of damage. If you have some assistance from your teammates, you should be fine, but it's still something that they need to take into consideration. How will they deal with that Ash? Let's find out.
Yeah, just need to ensure that the Ash can't just run it down. At the moment, he seems to be able to get a decent portion of the way up the map, but just get stopped in his stride, and Luki going to go aggressive. Jaku going to push up now, trying to find the pathway through, but can't quite get it in. Now he's going to be the one who defends that. Everybody else down, except from him and Tomsy, and it's not exactly the best matchup for him.
Yeah, it was a bit of a messy push there from Now or Never. I feel like maybe they could have approached things either in a faster way back by things being a little bit less messy, or just slowing things down and making sure they do things right, because at the end of the day, this counter attack is absolutely fantastic on the side of Zeta Division, and that's going to be resulting in a follow-up goal 45 seconds in. Now or Never in danger, because if Zeta Division close out this game, there will be enforcing a match point onto Now or Never.
Yeah, Jaku went aggressive and did manage to find his way through, but that's a mistake. Jiro's going to jump forward. The pass is there. Down goes Luki, and match point is going to be in the hands of... He got him, but he just left his teammates open to all the pain in the world as Zeta just walked it through.
Yeah, Zeta very, very quick to spot all those sort of opportunities. A big shot there from Yao to connect as well. Luki not seeing it coming. Tomsy next to full, and that is going to be yet another goal for Zeta. A stomp and a half so far for this Brawl Ball set, and perhaps not much more Brawl Ball to be seen if Zeta keep it up like that. They're going for it so far. Now trying to heal up at least a little bit. This could be a chance. A slow one to Tom. He should get shut down. So might this too. And Gerald gonna try to slot this one in, and he does.